to Dunker's podcast. Today we're diving into something powerful, purposeful, and yes, men only. This episode we're joined by the founder, Paul Flynn, from the Blue Bloods Wild Swimming Club, a men's only cold water community based in the Cotswolds. Now, I do understand ladies are allowed, but we'll get into that a wee bit later. Ostensibly, this is a men's club. Loneliness and isolation are now public health concerns, with research showing a huge proportion of men reportingly frequent loneliness and disconnection from family and friends. And many are less likely to talk about how they really feel. Men's groups are rising as a lifeline from, there's a big one called Andy's Man Club, with thousands attending weekly sessions across the UK to outdoor-based communities offering trust, camaraderie and purpose. And Blue Bloods is one of those. But how does an outdoor swim club actually transform lives? What makes a men-only community so potent? And can all of us, men and women alike, learn from it? This isn't about speed or distance or bravado. It's about connection. This is a conversation you'll want your partner, you'll want your brother, and in fact, your mate to hear. So let's get into it. Hi, Paul, and welcome to Dunker's podcast.
Hi, Mark. How you doing?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Very well indeed. So a recent UK survey found many men admit that they don't have a single close friend they could call in a crisis. If the answer isn't therapy for everyone, could it be community? That brings us to Blue Bloods. Paul, where did all this begin?
That's quite an interesting bit of evidence or research there that you've just said, because I think that was very much what was affecting me. So I moved to the Cotswolds about, I think, 12 years ago, and left friends, in London. So was suddenly without kind of close friendships here. We moved because of kids, the normal kind of reason why you move to the countryside. Right. So that was the big thing that happened to me. And yeah, it's quite lonely and isolating, and was going back to London as often as I could. Swimming, I've always swum outdoors. I grew up in the Isle of Wight. But years in London was mostly just swimming in pools, obviously. Outdoor swimming there in the 90s wasn't a huge thing, like it became, specifically because of the lockdown. So didn't really consider outdoor swimming anywhere in London while I was there. So then moving to the Cotswolds, discovered the Cotswold Lakes. But there's 180 lakes here in the Cotswolds, believe it or not.
Yeah, 180. God.
180, yeah, and they're made from gravel extraction, so okay. they're for minerals. So so that's how they've come about. But yeah, there's 180. There's four now you can swim in legally. You have to pay for access to swim in them,
sure.
And various other things, water skiing, all sorts go on at the lakes. So it was great for me, being from the Isle of Wight originally, and loving open water, to find somewhere I could go and spend time, and really got into swimming. So swimming about 4 years, but just about post-pandemic, really, I thought, right, I'm going to go outdoor swimming because everyone's doing it. It must be I'm used to the sea, but surely people are swimming in lakes. I'm just going to go and do it. So I rocked up to the lake I think it was in a March. It's about 10 degrees, full wetsuit, every inch covered in neoprene. Like, I was genuinely scared. I'm a thin person, Mark, so I'm like, cold is not for me. It was not for me. It wasn't for me, cold. I was not a fan, but I just thought, I'll give it a go. Let's give it a go. So 10 minutes in, with a coach, with a kind of outdoor swimming instructor person,
for sure.
Very lovely, someone I now work with. But she, 10 minutes was enough, got out. Oh my God, and well, you know what it's like. It's fight or flight. It's pure survival. You can't think of anything else. Your brain resets. You just, whoa. Yeah. And then I was like high for about 5 or 6 hours afterwards, and like naturally high, like I felt amazing. Right. Don't know if that was, serotonin, endorphins, dopamine, or just that I felt good about myself, that I'd done something difficult, and anyway, it made me go back. So then I was going back on my own, basically, because I didn't have anyone to swim with.
Oh, not even your coach, not even your coach came back.
Well, she wasn't really a coach. So she did it was like an induction, cold water induction course for me.
Ah, right, okay.
That was all. And but then yeah, became friends. Um, and then I had made other friends through kind of the Gloucestershire branch of the Blue Tits. So I got friendly with them, and they were all very lovely. And but then I did notice there was something missing for me specifically around the social aspect of it, and that there weren't. I would see men at the lake, so we swim at. There's a couple of lakes here. I swim at regularly.
Yeah, yeah.
I often see them, but typically on their own, and not really engaging with each other. Might say hi on the way in or way out. Wouldn't join the blue tits like I did. I think because it is predominantly women that go to the blue tits. Sure. And I think that can be off-putting. It's not off-putting for me, and men are welcome to go to the blue tits, and I love it. But it is off-putting to some. That's all. So I felt like an alternative might go down well. And I'd seen on Instagram and stuff, groups like there's a few around the country called Blue Balls. You're probably aware of.
Yeah.
And there's one who I've swum with actually up in Windermere called Blue Mind Men that was started by Gilly MacArthur and others. But they're a lovely group up there. So I've seen these little groups and I thought, well, it could work here, right? The one problem is there's nowhere really to swim for free in the Cotswolds. The rivers can be dodgy and the lakes are all privately owned. So that was my one reservation. But anyway, I put together a little press release and fired it out, and then just said we're going to start this Saturday morning here, and then incredibly a group of people turned up, and and we went from, I think within a few weeks we had over 100 men in the Facebook group and joined the Facebook group. Now there's 300, I think.
Right.
And yeah, routinely every week since then, we've had anywhere between 10 and 35 guys turn up to come and swim all year round.
So not just a few people coming down because it's a good idea, but regular attendance by quite a bunch of people. And yeah, I guess they're quite sort of friends now. It's not just nodding.
The swimming. Yeah. We got like one of our guys, a guy called Jeff. He runs a charity called Best Mates, which is a really lovely charity that's a mental wellbeing charity based in Swindon. And he had a charity kind of like a dinner, fundraising dinner, and the money was all of the lads from the Blue Bloods who went down to support him and his charity. So those are the kind of things that give me a load of joy. All of that happened,
Yeah, and obviously would you say that this was a problem that you were trying to solve, or was this an opportunity that you saw was just not being fulfilled? I know you obviously sort of could see, well, they didn't want to swim with the girls, and quite rightly, I think out of the 2.5 million people that are supposed cold water swimmers in the UK, I think probably more than 2.25 million must be females. They're just such a lot tougher than us, aren't they? Or they appear to be. And they're a lot more cohesive. They're a lot more community based, so that it makes it easier to sort of go down and chat. But I just wondered, was it that you felt there was a problem, or was it an opportunity?
I think maybe both. So I think that the problem with a lot of men, like where I live, it's quite rural here in the Cotswolds. So there aren't many opportunities to meet many people even, really, let alone people that you might actually get on with. Right. So typically where people have ended up here, they've moved from other cities. We moved from London, people have moved from Bristol, people have moved from wherever. So they've left friendships behind.
Yeah.
So unless you're lucky enough that at your work you've got friends, then you probably haven't, or you only see them once or twice a year when you go back to where you all came from. So yeah, there was and other than that, I think, but also when men do socialise, it tends to be, and these are all generalisations, of course, but it can very much focus around the pub. Or and things like that aren't necessarily the healthiest choices. No. And the other way is through sports. So sport is good for a lot of a lot of guys, who will still go and play five-a-side football, or members of the rugby club or what have you. That was never a thing for me. I like swimming, and
Yeah.
also I like being out in nature.
Yeah.
So, but I wasn't about to go and join a kind of walking group or something. I wanted to do something water-based and that I enjoyed. So outdoor swimming was natural to me. So it seemed that there would be a gap, and I think as the fact that so many guys come regularly and have completely fallen in love with it,
Yeah.
just proves that it was
It was
right.
the
Yeah,
right thing to do, because men post retirement is such a big hurdle for so many men, and obviously post bereavement is bound to be for both sexes. But have you found that there is a particular age group that you're attracting, or is it sort of people who just think this is a great idea, a bit like it's sort of the sort of group that would go to a pub now come to you because it's healthier and it's more fun and you get that dopamine hit?
yeah. I mean, I think that it's. So I'd probably liken it. The closest thing I could think of would maybe be like a village cricket team, in that you
Right,
might have
nice.
people of all kinds of ages, from all kinds of backgrounds, but they all come together with a common kind of purpose. So
Yeah,
that's sort of where it's kind of fun.
yeah.
There is an element of, I want to buy the right kit, I want this, I want that. Some of them might be really, really good at
Okay.
the cricket or at the swimming,
Yeah,
and others will be absolutely rubbish. But
right.
it really doesn't matter. It's
No,
almost always funny,
yeah,
So,
yeah,
no, I mean, your average person at Blue Bloods would be a middle-aged man.
yeah.
um, that would be your average. So somewhere 40s, 50s,
Mhm.
generally speaking. But there's guys in the 60s. There's a guy who's 22, I think, 23. So it does really vary. So
Yeah,
yeah, but generally the common theme is that people are there to do something fun and to challenge themselves and to have a bit of a laugh in a light-hearted kind of way. So
right.
that can be anyone,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's sort of because obviously I'd like to know what the Saturday morning looks like, because this is a regular thing that happens every Saturday. So I'll just sort of share with you in my mind, and then you can sort of tell me where I'm at. So the arrival, and there's coffee and there's chats that are going to come along. I presume, is there a briefing, safety briefing, or something similar for those that haven't been before?
No. So because where we swim is it's called Lake 32 is the venue
Okay,
that we swim at. So
okay,
it's an organized professional swimming venue. So you have to sign a waiver, before you go and swim there. You have to book your
right.
slot. You have to do all of that kind of safety stuff.
Ah,
In
okay.
in the Facebook group, I have pinned posts, that are kind of safety advice and what have you from the Outdoor Swimming Society and others, and a disclaimer, from me that's like, it's entirely up to you if you swim. It's your own risk and blah blah blah.
Right.
But when people come for the first time, quite often people come and want to just meet me independently and before coming to the group. So I'll meet them during the week or something, just on their own, if they're a bit wary or they don't want to, join the group straight away, because it can be a bit intimidating joining
Sure.
something new.
Yeah, yeah.
So several times I've met people individually, and then I will just talk to them about, taking it easy, wearing what you're comfortable with, swimming your own swim, paying attention to, your breathing, your ability to speak, all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm very much a less is more with cold water swimming. I mean, I
Right.
love it, but
Yeah.
I'm a, when you had Heather Massey on, didn't you, recently?
It did.
But she will, yeah, so she'll tell you things like, what is it, 2 minutes or a minute and a half, even at sub 15,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you'll get 80% of the benefits of cold water.
Sure.
So you really don't need to be pushing it.
No.
It's just getting.
No.
I say to the guys quite often, if your shoulders are in, you win.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Nice.
So get in. If it's 15 seconds and you just get straight back out, then fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. But some of the guys will do a kilometre or a mile at sub 5 even now. But
Really? Okay. But
yeah,
they don't,
yeah.
they're not under, they're sort of, it's self pressure. It's not under group pressure to either swim or just dunk or just dunk. Yeah, they could just do either, whichever suits them really at their time. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly
Okay.
that. So that's how the Saturday mornings kind of go. Is that
Right.
we meet and we'll talk about the conditions.
Okay.
There might be a bit of procrastination going on, especially
Okay.
if it's like if there's
Yeah,
some.
yeah. Especially at this time of the year, Paul.
Well, it's funny. Like we all really like the cold. Like
Right.
the cold is good. What we don't like so much is sideways wind and rain. So that's the one thing that seems to really stop you getting out of your dry robe and getting
Yeah.
in. You know,
Yeah.
it's just it's horrible, isn't it? But
It absolutely is, and obviously, as you can imagine, on the ocean next to the beach, you're just
oh,
victim of that. And it's you're absolutely right. It doesn't matter if it's cold. This morning when we were in, it was 5. So, and that's pretty cold for the sea. It won't get a lot colder than that. But we were fortunate there was no wind. Whereas a couple of days ago, it might have been 5 to 6, and the wind was absolutely howling. And it's that. And the walk back from the water to where we get changed, because it's just like purgatory. So yeah, yeah, yeah. So I know what you mean. It's a bit of self-selection, and as you say, when I was looking at the pictures, that around Lake 32, there looked a number of different tents or small marquees. Is that an activity centre? Is Lake 32 actually an activity centre?
yeah. So it's called Lake 32 Outdoor Centre. So
Ah,
it's a
okay,
private run company on a
right.
lake, and they so they do all kinds of like kayaking, canoeing, outdoorsy stuff, for kids, lots of things. So you can
Yeah,
take corporate groups there. Occasionally they have a sauna there as well for kind of contrast therapy,
yeah,
dipping, all
yeah,
of that. So you can do raft building. There's all sorts of things you can do there. Um, but the main thing, really, I think there now, or certainly since the pandemic, is probably the swimming. So that's it's it's
that's taken the focus. Yeah,
yeah, definitely, and it is. I mean, they're open all year round.
yeah,
Only shut a few days over Christmas, so so that's where people go generally,
yeah.
because it's open so much for swimming, and you can
I
swim
would,
up to. In summer, they open up a 1 kilometre course on the lake, so
okay,
you can swim. A good distance. Like if
yeah,
I'm in training for something, I might swim 5K in one session.
right,
There, it's quite easy to do.
yeah.
Um,
Well,
compared
if
to
you
the
can
sea,
swim
obviously.
5K, it's easy to do. Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's about my limit. So
Okay.
I'm swimming to the Isle of Wight in September.
Oh
So
wow.
from Portsmouth, so that's about 5K. So
Right.
yeah, that's about. I just get bored. I'm afraid because I'm only a breaststroker,
Yeah,
so it'll take me 2 hours. So
yeah.
and then that's enough. That's enough for me. That's enough
Right.
swimming. Yeah.
Heather hasn't got you into the crawl yet, then.
Well, no, I don't. Then I don't know Heather.
Oh,
So
don't you? Oh, sorry. I wondered because you're both at that your neck of the woods, aren't you, of the country? And
yeah,
she's
we've
based. Well,
communicated.
she's based in Bristol, which isn't exactly. But I mean, hey, when you're in North Wales, everywhere seems a long way away. But she's based in Bristol. But I just wondered whether you'd come across her. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's a small world, you see, because and because of the various things that I do. Like my wife runs an outdoor open water swimming fashion brand called Dip Tribe.
Okay.
So which was my idea. I came up with it, but she runs it. She's the designer. So there's that. I also run a non-profit company called Blue Human Project, which is all about getting people out to rivers, lakes, and seas to experience, swimming and kayaking and paddleboarding for well-being benefits.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
there's that, and
Yeah.
then there's Blue Bloods. And then and then I run my own swimming sessions at a venue in the Cotswold Lakes called Cotswold Rocks. So I do that every Friday night. We do night swims every Friday night. over at the lake there, and and because it's a small world, outdoor swimming, really.
Sure.
If you start going to all the conferences and things, you bump into each other.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
is the merchandise that obviously your wife develops with Dip Tribe, is the merchandise part of your mission, or is it a byproduct? I mean, your mission sounds as though it's pretty broad, one way and another.
Yeah, it is, but mostly it was. I tell you what, mostly it was selfish because I think that a lot of that is to do with middle age, right? So not
Okay.
only in middle age you start saying no to things that you don't want to do, but you start saying yes to things that you want to do. And
Right.
and when I spot gaps, I like to, instead of moaning about it, I like to fill it. So
Yeah.
a few years back when I got really into this year-round swimming, and especially inland, swimming,
Yeah.
I was looking for clothes that kind of represented my passion, but that I actually wanted to wear, and I couldn't find anything. So I asked my wife to design some stuff, and I just came up with the name Dip Tribe in the middle of a swim in the lake, and
Right. Right.
thought it sounded like a friendly, all-encompassing kind of
Oh, no,
name.
absolutely. Yeah.
And so she started designing clothes, and that was where that started. So really, it was selfish because I just wanted something to wear that I thought was
Sure.
cool.
Yeah.
you know
And then,
Blue Bloods was kind of selfish because I wanted some mates to swim with.
yeah.
And Blue Human Project has come about because, as I mentioned earlier, the lakes are all privately owned here,
Yeah.
so it's difficult to swim or enjoy the lake, especially if you're one of the, if you're on a low income household or what have you. Then you don't want to be paying 15, 18 quid for an hour's paddleboarding,
Agreed.
especially if you've got 3 or 4 kids. You have to pay that 3 or 4 times. It's shocking.
It's
So the people
prohibitive.
that
Yeah.
it is. So the people that need access to these blue spaces, the most, can't
That's
have it.
no.
It's not like living by the sea. It's not like where you are.
Yeah.
It's not like where I grew up in the Isle of Wight. You can just go for a swim. Or borrow a paddleboard or canoe and just go off. You can't do that here. So that's why I set that up, because it annoyed me that people didn't have access.
Yeah.
So really, in some ways, a lot of it has been quite selfish. It's
But
just the changes I wanted to see.
yeah, and obviously the changes that you're making now are completely opposite to selfish. They're very all encompassing, because you've got people, I guess, from all ages, both sexes, and they're just welcomed. And if one community doesn't take them, then they've got two or a couple of other communities they can default to, can't they? It's
Yeah,
it's
yeah, exactly that. And so even with the idea between Blue Human Project is that it's all about blue space.
Do you swim in rivers and waterfall and go on to waterfalls and go on road trips, etc., with the group, or is it still very much based down at Lake 32?
And so yeah, no, we do road trips. So we went down to Clevedon Marine Lake. We swum in the Thames. We've been to all kinds of places. So and they take part in events as well. So we had a team in the level water, 24-hour relay. We've had teams in the Cotswold Big Swim. We've had guys are going all over the place, really. So it's great. I swam myself in Henrid Falls
Okay.
In Brecon and for my 50th. So we're now planning, when it's not quite so raging down there, to go and do the 4 waterfalls walk, maybe in about March or April, something like
Right.
that.
Right.
So we will go off and do that. But the most exciting thing that a bunch of them are doing is go to Finland in March for the Winter Swimming World Championships.
Wow.
So, yeah, the IWSA World Championship. So that's March coming up. So that's soon. So and this is funny.
Are you going along with them?
I can't, for various reasons, personal reasons and home reasons, but sadly. But there's five or six are going that can spare the time and go for a week to Finland.
Yeah.
It's a long way to go if you're only going to do a 50-meter swim, which is probably what I would have done.
Right.
But some of them are doing the full, the big. I don't know what the longest distance is, but they're definitely doing 500 meters at least.
Right.
I think.
Right.
And one of our guys is a really good ice swimmer now, and he might be doing a kilometer if they do that out there. So yeah, that's exciting. That when you think that like a bit over a year ago. It's only started like 18 months ago.
Mm.
And most of these people hadn't swum outdoors at all, other than in the sea in the summer, on
Yeah,
holiday.
yeah.
So to go through their first winter last year, and then to be all signing up to go to Finland to take part in a World Championships
It's
is,
awesome, absolutely
it's
awesome. That it's such a
cool.
paradigm change for their lives and everybody around them, because obviously they're going to go and share all those experiences when they come back. Tell me, just sort of big picture, do you think that the concept, which clearly has caught the imagination and caught the interest and caught the attention of quite a lot of people, do you think this is something, as a men's swimming club, do you think this is something that's scalable, or do you think that it's because of where it is and it's unique? Because you'll know, especially from the film industry, sometimes you can do something and it's so right, but you try and take it elsewhere, or you try and cut and paste it, and it just falls down. I'm just really keen to know whether you think that this is replicable.
My gut feeling is that yes, it is. But for me, it would be all about the resource and the effort, that would be needed to try and develop that. I see no reason why it shouldn't be, as big as the Blue Tits is,
Right.
or if you're going to be more realistic, then maybe a third the size of what the Blue Tits is. But
Yes. Yeah.
who now have branches, even internationally.
They do.
Um, so because it's so loose, the way our loose, in fact, we've done it the most difficult way because we swim somewhere where you have to pay to swim. So
Right. Yeah.
whereas the easy way, like the Blue Balls groups, there's
Yeah.
one in Cornwall, there's one in Edinburgh. I think it's quite a big group. So they're doing really cool stuff, but they've got access to a free space to swim.
Yeah.
So that's an easier. And actually, I was down in Lyon the Solent the other day, which is where my stepmom lives, and I went out for a walk on the beach and bumped into a men's group called Men Who Plunge on the beach
Okay.
down there. So, and
Right.
that was great. I joined them. They did the whole shebang, though, the breath work and all of that stuff.
Okay.
That I don't think I could convince my lot to do. My lot,
Yeah.
they're just, can we just have a swim, please?
Yeah. Yeah. A
So,
swim and a natter. That's all
yeah,
there
yeah,
for you.
that's all they want, really. A bacon roll afterwards, and just to take the piss out of each other. Basically, that's
Yeah.
pretty much what
Exactly.
the group is for.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so there are groups all over that it would be easier to set up a kind of blue bloods group, where there's free access to water.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, but it's just a question of people. If anyone out there listening to this wants to do it, and if they like the idea of the name and the logo and all of that, which my wife obviously designed, so it looks
Sure.
cool.
Sure. Sure.
It's like a bit like a motorcycle club, kind of
Yes.
logo.
Yeah.
So it looks cool, and that's the one thing that lots of women have said, about it, is that they just love the logo, so
Yeah. Yeah.
they want to join. And the women that do join, by the way, tend to be kind of wives or girlfriends, and friends might come
Oh,
along. It's
okay.
completely loose and open.
Yeah.
Um, so if anyone did want to join, they're welcome to get in touch with me, and I'll tell them, what I did to set up the one
Brilliant.
here. And I can share the logo, I can share the stuff, I can,
Right.
very happy to do all of that. It's not
Right.
like a franchise. It would just be like go and do it. If you want to do
Yeah.
it, do it. But
Yeah. Yeah.
here's my little sort of cheat sheet on how I did it.
Yeah, and that was a question that was in my mind. If one of the listeners wanted to start something similar, what's the first step? And the first step clearly is to reach out to you. And being a biker of over 50 years, I totally and utterly resonate to your logo. It's yeah, absolutely. Because I did think, is this the Hell's Angels of swimming? But because on first glance, it's not dissimilar. But I don't know where your wife got the inspiration from. So 5 years, where's it going to? What's it going to look like 5 years from now? Or what? Yeah, what are Blue Bloods going to look like 5 years from now?
Well, it would be nice if there were a few other branches or whatever we decide to call those.
Yeah, yeah,
In a motorcycle club, it would be chapters, wouldn't it?
yeah,
But
yeah. It was. Yeah,
yeah, or divisions or something. I don't know whatever we call it.
right.
Um, would be it'd be nice for there to be some others
Yeah,
as well. other than that, I think that we keep growing the one that we've got here in the Cotswolds.
Yeah.
Because, and I would like, so through Blue Human Project, because it's a non-profit company, I can do some fundraising now, and then I can funnel some of that towards Blue Bloods related stuff. So I would like a situation where we have a venue that Blue Bloods don't have to pay to attend for the regular weekly meetup.
Yeah.
So, but I also like the idea of it being a supervised, organised, safe venue, right?
Yeah.
I do really like that side of swimming at the lakes, that
Yeah.
I know. And also it helps to break down barriers for people coming for the first time. If they
Sure.
know there's a cafe, there's toilets, there's showers, there's, that stuff, there's somewhere to park your car. It's not like wild swimming, like I would call wild swimming, where I go off into the woods and, get missing and, and get muddy and
that's right.
And it's all a bit gross half the time.
Yeah.
So it's more civilized than that.
Yeah.
But I would like to be in a position where I could say, right, the weekly group is free and it happens here. So that barrier is gone.
Yeah.
So I've already had some fundraising from the local council who gave me a few £100 so I could get some spare tow floats because our venue insists on tow floats. So that's not a barrier now. So it's all just like removing those sort of reasons for people to say no to give it a go for the first time.
That's great. And 5 years is, when you think about it, all of this sort of cold water swimming, certainly wild swimming to a degree, has all burgeoned since COVID. And that was, frankly, only 5 years ago. So amazing how these things can actually sort of catch and keep people's attention and keep up people's imagination, because they just want to sort of be part of something that's growing. Just a couple of very quick things. With the Dunkers podcast, I always ask people, I've got one question that I always ask them of my own, and then I've got one that a previous podcaster has actually asked. I won't tell you who it was. They will just share the question, but we'll just see what your answer is. Because when we finish this, I'll ask you for a question, either through email or face-to-face. Okay. So keep your hat on. So my question is, if you could choose to dunk anywhere and with who would it be and where would it be?
Oh, my goodness. I think if I could choose anywhere, this is going to sound a bit soppy.
No,
but I would choose for it to be here, and I would choose for it to be with my wife. Excellent. Because I have tried to convince her to come to the lake. She loves the Mediterranean, but I would love it if she would come with me just here. I guess I could have chosen someone famous or something, but really,
no, Paul,
the truthful answer is if I could go swimming here, anywhere here, as long as it was nice and cold and natural, but just with my wife, would be great.
Yeah. No, that's great. And you're famous enough in your area, so let's hope this podcast might reach out, and then she might get so many points on the shoulder. Come on, you've got to join him. You've got to join him.
Maybe.
Okay. Yeah. And the other question is that I've been asked to sort of pass this on is, if you look 10 years in the future, what would you personally like your life to look like?
Oh, that's quite easy. I would like to be running my own venue, my own outdoor swimming venue. So somehow. So I don't. This probably involves winning the lottery, Mark, to be honest. But it's but somehow where I could have kind of control over what happens at a venue, and and I could make sure that access was fair, and that I could run the charitable company out of that venue, and so I could have full access. So I'd have people paying for activities that could afford it. I'd have people getting access for free that couldn't afford it. I'd run at the times of day that I want things to happen. I want to be able to swim at sunrise. Throughout the year.
Beautiful. Yeah.
But I want that throughout the year. So that means sometimes being down at the lake at 4 a.m. right? Sure. but if that's what it means, that's what it means. And sunsets as well might not happen till 10 p.m. In July. I want somewhere where I can swim at sunset. So I would, yeah, somewhere I could have total control over what happens. Yeah, that would be me in 10 years.
Well, that's absolutely brilliant, and from our point of view, I hope the spirit of the Dunkers go with you, because you just need all those forces working together. So thank you
Absolutely.
very much, Paul. That was really, really good. So that was the Blue Bloods Wild Swimming Club, and with Paul. And I guess it's proof that connection doesn't always start with words. Sometimes it starts with cold water, shared silence, and simply, as Paul said, showing up. So if this episode resonated, please share it with someone who might need it. You never know. It could be the nudge that for them changes everything. Paul, thank you very much indeed. Great to have you with us.
Lovely to be here. Thanks, Mark.